Welcome to the SWAT. Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. I'm just the host today. Didn't look through stuff, but we got Chris and Lindy here that have a slew of bets, and Prop Beaver has a few bets as well. Obviously, as I'm sure you heard, we're going through some stuff over here. So yeah, I'm just hosting, listening, see if I can find some stuff to tail today. Let's see if Chris is here. Yes, he is. Chris, what are the odds that we're both wearing Washington Commanders jerseys? Washington Commanders gear.
That's true. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, probably didn't get the memo that it's Washington Commander Day.
Yeah, I didn't have my trash ass gear on today. My
bad. By the way, I already bet Bucks -2.5 this weekend, Chris. Just wanted you to know that I already placed that bet. Bucks -2.5.
I couldn't talk. They smoked us the first game of the season. I couldn't talk you all.
Thanks to everyone tuning in, and thanks for everyone who reached out. It meant a lot to the family that so many people connected with Andy and liked watching him on the show. That meant a lot. So all you that reached out, that was awesome. Anyway, let's talk some NBA, and I'm looking to tail. I have no open action for today. I have a bunch of open bets for the football in the next coming days, but as far as basketball, I got nothing today. I have a ton of graphics in the folder, which means you guys got some stuff. Prop Beaver, you are in for 3 games, and this is one of them. So why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
All right, so here's the deal. I got all horned up thinking that I thought that Bradley Beal and Nurkic were out of the rotation. They are. They
both deserve to be bad enough. They're bad enough.
Exactly. But no, they are still in the rotation. They are just out of the starting rotation. So I thought they were going to be out of the rotation. As a result, I was all over Tyus Jones over assists because without Bradley Beal and with Devin Booker, and I mean, the splits are absurd. Great matchup. Philly allows a good amount of assists. I think 6 most over last month. Also, they allow a ton of threes. That's where Tyus really racks up those assists. But I'm an idiot, and it is the starting rotation they are out of. They are still coming off of the bench, and I also saw that Beal is still expected around 30 minutes. So I would feel like an idiot if I told you guys to place that bet based off the fact that Beal's not playing and he is playing. So I'm sorry, false alarm. No Tyus Jones mega lock like I thought. Gonna pass here.
He started his analysis with, guys, I got all horned up.
I did. I was really excited. I was pumped. I had a whole write-up, 1.5 units. Like, I was pumped. I thought I found like a glitch in the matrix, and then I was like, nope. This is why you lose bets.
Pretty sure Lindy's on an under in this game. Am I right with that, Lindy?
Which game is this?
This is Phoenix, Philly.
Yeah, so Phoenix, Philly. First off, just wanted to say I'm sorry to everybody over here because obviously that was pretty wild to wake up and see, and just wanted to say support you guys, and I always appreciated Andy, always happy kid, smiling kid, and obviously the older we get, the crazier stuff has a chance of popping up from time to time. So if you guys need anything, just let me know because I'm just, it's a huge bummer. But looking at the under of 322 here, appreciate you guys. It's just one of those cases where Joel Embiid questionable. I think you're more than likely going to get him playing here in this spot going up against Phoenix. I basically just ran this game where I kind of like middled his minutes in a way where he's sitting at 20 minutes. So you can kind of like get an idea where it's more skewed towards my feeling of him being in. And every single time I end up rerunning numbers here, it falls closer into the 223 realm. And so, it was an under of 226.5 that I had as a lean from last night. Probably wouldn't be playing it here at this point in time at 222.5. But Joel Embiid, he adds a lot of, presence on the defensive end. I do like this move to Yabusele here in the starting unit. I think as we accumulate sample size with him playing alongside Joel Embiid, they're going to really like what they see. I think this is going to be a better defensive team here on the Phoenix side. And obviously Ryan Dunn, he's basically all defense at this stage of his career. And so you're putting him into the starting unit, ramping up his minutes a little bit. Bradley Beal not out of the rotation, but definitely going to project him close to that 30 number, which is less than you would expect for a guy who's routinely played 36, 38 when they're full strength. It is definitely setting itself up for an under still, but yeah, it's far more efficient now.
So probably closer to a pass now at the current number.
Yep, big time. Big time.
Chris, anything for this game?
Yeah. So, well, I didn't bet anything. I want to give a lean. I still may get to this, but I haven't gotten there quite yet. And just like Lindy said, man, condolences to Andy and everybody impacted. It sucks, especially so young. Somebody dropped it in my chat, and I was watching your stream yesterday. Tuka, I saw you had posted it a couple days ago. So rest in peace to Andy. Death sucks in general, especially so young. But getting back to the game, Kyle, Paul George is who I'm looking to fade here. I think so. I couldn't get to a side. Just real quick on the side, Philly is coming off that smackdown of the Brooklyn Nets the other day. Phoenix should be desperate. They've lost, I think, 4 straight games. The reason why I didn't want to get the Philly, I don't like the spot as much as the first game back home on the East Coast. Well, second game back on the East Coast, but first game back home. 4th game in 6 nights, and they've played 8 of their last 10 games on the road. So I typically like to fade those teams. I can't back Phoenix, though, with how bad they've been playing. Lindy mentioned a lot of the offensive struggles that they've had, which is so interesting that the Phoenix Suns of all teams are 25th in offensive rating over the last 5 games when you got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant out there. But neither here nor there. Paul George specifically is the way that I was looking to play this game. His points plus rebounds just kind of jumped out to me when I was over on Outlier. He's only up and over the number in one of the last 10 games when Joel Embiid plays. So for whatever reason, he tends to take that back seat. We see Maxey, scoring the ball a lot more. Maxey being a lot more efficient. So that was the first thing that jumped out to me. 9-1 to the under last 10. He's only averaging about 9.5 rebound chances, shooting just 38% from the field, 25% from the 3-point line as well in the games with Joel Embiid. And it, like I said, it really just feels more like a rhythm thing. Like he hasn't gotten into quite to that rhythm. I think with the desperation spot for Phoenix here, Lindy mentioned Dunn being a plus defender. Kevin Durant is also, even at this stage of his career, still a pretty good defender as well. So I do think that if they find some success tonight, it won't be because of Paul George. It'll be more so because of Maxey and because of Embiid. So I will go Paul George. Didn't bet this one yet, but I like his points plus rebounds specifically together under 22.5.
Paul George over points and rebounds.
No,
Under.
Oh, I typed that wrong.
Yeah, fade him.
Under points and rebounds. Our poll is pretty split. 43%, 44%. So it seems like a lot of people are undecided on this one. Let's move on to the next one. Prop Beaver will be back in 3 or 4 games for now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoops. Let me switch them out.
No.
All right. One sec. All right. So the next game is Portland, Detroit. So I didn't find anything I liked in that one. I'm definitely going to throw a bet or 2 down. I've actually haven't lost an NBA bet since Thursday, 4 days. Tongue in cheek a little bit. I've only placed 4 bets in that span. But it's been since Thursday since I lost an NBA bet. So hopefully we can find something to keep that going. Blazers, Pistons in Detroit. All right. I can't remember if I made any graphics for you guys. Oh, someone had a Cade Cunningham pick. Which one of you was?
I did. That was me. Yep. Cade Cunningham looking at a double-double here for him. I'm pulling it back up here to see what the current number is sitting at. Minus 145 over on DK, but you can kind of single game parlay piece it together on FanDuel, number of other places, Bet365 if you have access. There are some interesting configurations for Cade Cunningham, and then also looking at some triple-double numbers here. You just take Jaden Ivey off the floor across the board. He's been extremely inefficient shooting the basketball, 48% effective field goal percentage. It makes sense. Defense can concentrate a little bit more around him. Malik Beasley still coming off the bench, which is still flabbergasting me that they're going to guys like Wendell Moore as opposed to more minutes for Malik Beasley right from the jump. Asar Thompson is now also questionable, and that's a 14.7% total rebound rate that needs to get replaced if he ends up sitting. And I think as you work through specific box scores, his per 100 possession numbers, 32, 7, and 11. So again, 11 on the assist side of things. I think you're looking at a pretty decent shot here, not just the double-double, but I might be extending this to triple-double kind of based on what happens with Asar Thompson if I get a better feel on that one. But because that rebound rate would go from like 8% up to around 10%. The assist percentage is going to be right around 39-40% when you project Jaden Ivey off the floor here. It's just straightforward projection based, bottom up betting here. Cade just makes sense here, I think, at the double price. I know it seems a little bit steep there, but again, there's easier ways to just add the 10 assists or add the 10 rebounds in conjunction with it. I think similar to something I'm looking at with Tyler Herro, I do think you could just leave the points off and kind of look at ensembling at 10 plus 10. Sometimes you get really, really incredible odds relative to the posted double odds. So just kind of do your due diligence there, but Cade Cunningham double makes sense.
Cade double. Chris, do you have anything for this one?
I like under, Kyle. Haven't bet it. I probably should have. It was moving the opposite direction, so that scared me off. It's not enough for me to bet it either, but just because, Portland can be a little volatile at times. But this one kind of made sense. When I was going through the game yesterday, I was looking at Detroit. They've been playing really good defensively. They held Orlando. No, granted, it's Orlando. 96 points, Charlotte to 94 points. Granted, it's Charlotte. But then they held the Minnesota Timberwolves on the second leg of a back-to-back to 105, even though Anthony Edwards scored like 3,000. So you got them, next game of a homestand. Portland, we know they're not a great offensive team. Actually, they've only scored 105 points against Milwaukee the other day and 106 against the Lakers, 103 against Philly in their last 3 games. So I thought the total was a little bit too high. Looking at Portland, just some trends. 13-5 to the under on the road. That's 72.2%, including 5-1 to the under the last 6 games. And if the total is below 225, which will higher than 225, which is this went up to 226, there's 7-2 to the under. And those games are averaging just 215 points. You look at pace, last 5 games, Portland 22nd in pace, Detroit 19th. Detroit, surprisingly, 6th in defensive rating, 3rd in opponent offensive rebound rate, which is important because we know that Portland gets a ton of offensive rebounds. Detroit, also a really good team, in limited second chance points. Both of these teams are really good rebounding teams. So I think that's going to limit both of the teams from being able to score the basketball because of the opposition being able to kind of limit those. So not a lot of second chance opportunities here. I think when I went through it, neither team was really getting out and running in transition. I think they're pretty cool with playing a slow pace game here. The last couple games, specifically in Detroit, between the two teams have actually gone under as well, with the overs coming in Portland. So I like under. This was at 225.5 when I capped it last night. It went up to 226, and I said, I'm not messing with it. It's too volatile for me. With this game could fly up and over the total, but now I see it back down to 223.5. So maybe I had something.
Under or pass for Chris? I don't hate that under. Someone asked about the college football pick for today. I don't do FCS. I don't know anything about it. There's not enough data available, in my opinion.
Montana State.
You like Montana State?
I do. Yeah, I bet them already at 3, -3.
Montana State.
I bet a lot more FCS than I do the big boys, just because just a more fragile market. It's a little bit easier to beat.
I've heard people say that. I've heard that said a lot from people I consider to be smart people. So there's probably truth to that. Bucks -6.
I'll just put that on my screen. Montana State. There you go.
Montana State says Lindsay.
Yeah,
what's the line on that?
It's -3. Yeah, North Dakota State. Going up against North Dakota State, a team that I think they've been wearing a glass slipper here for a couple of weeks, and obviously I'm biased towards the South Dakota boys. That's kind of how I got into betting it. It's University of South Dakota and South Dakota State both were in the Final Four there, and been paying very close attention to that all season. But Montana State's a wagon. Just keep betting them.
Yeah, the FCS runs through the Dakotas. Milwaukee.
That's about the only thing that I run away from the Dakotas. That's what I did.
Everyone else runs away from the Dakotas. The FCS runs through it. Milwaukee, Toronto. Chris, I'm pretty sure you had a Lillard bet here, right?
Yeah, well, it was a lean. I didn't make it official. But yeah, I think it's a perfect bounce back spot for Dame. Dame missed a couple games because he was dealing with an illness where he said he lost weight, couldn't get out the bed, was throwing up. He had a lot of stuff going on. He's been back now for about 3 games, and the rhythm and continuity of the Bucks have just been really, really bad recently. They've lost back-to-back games against the Brooklyn Nets for somehow, and the Portland Trailblazers. So, I mean, you're not going to find a better, primetime bounce-back spot than the Toronto Raptors. They have really, really struggled recently, even with, quickly being back. RJ has missed the last handful of games, and I think they've won one of their last 18 now. They even lost to Orlando as a 2-point dog the other day, and Orlando has absolutely nobody. So, This kind of feels like it's a get right spot for the Bucks, but even more so a get right spot for Dame. Last 10 games, he's only gone up and over the number of 5 of them. So he's, like I said, been in a little bit of a rut. But like I said, the Toronto Raptors 28th ranked defensive team versus the 3-point shot, specifically against the point guard. Last 5 games, they're allowing the second most attempts and the third highest field goal percentage at 41%. And Dame played against them. He played against them once earlier this season. He did hit 4 threes in that matchup. One of the games he played against them last season, he also hit 4 threes with 10 and 12 attempts. So he should be able to get him up in this spot. I like Dame to go up and over his 3.5 threes. I know Chris Middleton got ruled out since I did my show earlier this morning as well. It still feels like a bounce back spot for the Bucks here. I'm just not willing to take the points. I know Toronto started off the season really hot, but you got a Bucks team that's off back-to-back losses as double-digit favorites, and now they're on the road laying 6.5, 7. The line moving back towards them, even after it came down because of Chris Middleton being out. It feels like a get right spot here for Milwaukee, especially with RJ Barrett potentially making his return after missing the last 4 games through the illness. Like, I could see some reconditioning, him really, really struggling in this spot. The Bucks have been really good off a loss defensively. So I had Toronto team total under 112.5 as well, but I think that number's moved, and I didn't play that one either. Just a lean.
A lot of people are shouting bets. A lot of people betting this game in the comments. So first of all, Tim F is on North Dakota State, he said. But as far as this game, damn, where'd the hell go? So S Dot's on a Giannis triple-double. B Felly, what's up, man? Haven't talked to you in a while. Hope everything's well with you. He said Raps team total under, and then Helms responded saying Raps team total over right after that. And then someone else said, I can't find it. But all right, Lindy. So for Chris, we have Dame Lillard's over and a lean towards the Bucks, or a lean towards for both our leans, I think.
So the number is not making sense to me right now on this, and I'll talk through it. But my favorite play of the day probably is Giannis triple-double, plus 600. I'm staring this one, and I'm hoping I can get even a little bit better, but it's currently listed. Let me double check because I had it updated on my sheet. FanDuel right now has it listed plus 600, which I think is bettable as a slam dunk type play. Let's go through it. Chris Middleton off the floor this season. We've seen Giannis take over the assist category in like a very, very real way. 788 minutes, 35.5% assist rate is actually above that of Dame at 32.8%. And now you're coming off of back-to-back losses. And so the other thing that you have to think about is this is a Bucks team that has aspirations, that has one of the top 3-4 players in the NBA on it. And I think you can ramp his minutes up another 2 coming off of back-to-back losses. And it's just these small little differences where if you see 40 minutes for Giannis in a game that, obviously losing 3 in a row, not really a choice here. Doc Rivers, one of the worst coaches in the NBA, but like legitimately, I just don't see how you don't let Giannis go out there. 37% assist rate. We know he's just going to do everything at the rim. You're not worried about points when it comes to the triple-double, but again, 35.5% assist rate and then an 18.1% total rebound rate going up against a Toronto team where we're going to get extra possessions, right around a 230 total. I just love these kind of plays when there's a little bit of like the I know ball take that you can add to the projections. And again, for me, that's just a minute and a half, 2 minutes extra coming off of back-to-back losses for Giannis. And you put that into the projection model. I've got this closer to plus 380. So it is a really, really good piece of value today.
Giannis triple-double. I'll write it down.
Cal, real quick, what do you think about this? So road favorites who are coming off back-to-back losses as a favorite, laying 6 points or more, so they're supposed to win the game by 3 possessions. 68, 50, and 3 against the number. That's 58%. 65, 51, and 5 to the under. That's 56%.
So a Raps team total under.
Mm-hmm. That's why I got that from earlier. It was 112.5. I think it did jump down a little bit.
When they fumble the bag twice in a row, they show up defensively in the third game. That's what that tells me.
Yeah, so even the other thing is, even with them losing to Portland the other day at home, they still held Portland under the team total. I cashed a 108.5. They only gave up 105, and they only scored 104 though, or 103, whatever.
What a brutal basketball team, and they have so many good pieces. Like it's just like one of the worst constructed group of like talented basketball players on a team. Like between Quickly and like Grady Dick would be a great addition on like the Lakers. Like you put Grady Dick on the Lakers and he's just outrageously good and talked about differently. Scotty Barnes, just does everything. And Jakob Poeltl, one of the more underrated players in the NBA as well. I mean, how is Toronto this bad all the time? I don't understand.
I feel like we haven't seen a sustained stretch where they have had their main pieces all healthy at the same time.
I was going to say the same thing, Kyle. Yeah, the continuity feels like.
And RJ Barrett has the black plague right now, it would appear.
And even when he comes back, Lindy, like even when RJ came, then quickly came back and RJ went down. Like it's just been like musical chairs with the injury report.
That being said, to Lindy's point, it has been pretty bad. You see teams sustain injuries; they're not this bad. Like. The Bucks without Middleton are not a 10-72 basketball team. So I mean, good teams are still able to win some basketball games missing pieces. It's part of the sport.
It's part of the sport, and also like it still feels like an undervalued basketball team because they're 8-27, but they're 20-14-1 against the spread this season. They're a winning basketball team if you blindly take them on the other side. They're going to be dogs all the time. I'm usually going to be leaning their direction. I mean, obviously, you'd be up a couple units going that direction all season long. And I think going forward still, as they get healthier, these are going to be the kind of spots where like normally I'd be betting a Toronto plus 6.5. I can't do it right now. I can't do it.
Same. Yeah.
All right.
I definitely agree with all of that.
Next up is Magic Knicks. And I thought Orlando played us well in Madison Square Garden, but I just pulled up StatMuse and I guess I'm thinking of a different team.
Yeah, you're definitely thinking of a different team. We were both on the Orlando.
Well, hold on. So
both on New York in this spot.
Their last 6 trips to 2023 is actually missing from here. So forget that. So all right, Knicks, Magic. I don't think I have graphics for either of you guys in this game.
You do. You got one for me. It's my second favorite play of the day.
I was gonna say it's definitely one of mine. One of my favorites too. I played. I'll go first, Lindy. I played Orlando team total under 99.5. I think was the number. This was before Jalen Suggs got ruled out. I felt like FanDuel was still hanging a 99 up when I looked maybe an hour ago for this team total. It is still 99.5 is available on Bet365, but it's minus 120. 98.5 is available as well. It's simple. Orlando can't score the basketball, man. Knicks will probably be fatigued in this spot. It's a fatigue spot for both teams. Orlando lost last night to Utah at home, so second leg of a back-to-back. The Knicks have played a bunch of different games. They've been traveling all over the place. 5 of their last 6 games have been on the road, but they are off back-to-back losses now. Lost to the Bulls, lost to the Thunder. They have not lost back-to-back games at all this season, but once. And then that next one, they held the Bucks to 84 points. So I'm looking at Orlando, 8-2 to the under in their last 10 games. They've been playing at a super slow pace. 3 straight and 6 of their last 7 games have gone under. Second worst offensive rated team over the last 5 games, averaging just 104.4 points per 100 possessions, shooting 49.5 effective field goal percentage, not getting to the free throw line, playing at the second slowest pace. They aren't shooting the 3 well, and it's crazy because that's the only kryptonite for the Knicks right now is the 3-point shot. They're actually a bottom 5 3-point defensive team over the last 5 games, but Orlando's not going to be able to knock them down. So I like the spot here for Orlando to struggle to score the basketball. I think the first 2 games that they've played, 3 games that they played, they've only hit the over. They've scored 100 points one time against this team, and they had a much more healthier roster. The last time that they played, I think they got to like 90, and that was with Franz and Mo, and they combined for 50. So I'm not sure how you're going to score if you're Orlando in this spot. I took team total under as square as that may be.
I think there's a lot of people taking the over in this game. Grobens in the Discord gave out the over last night. B. Felly just said he played over 207 last night. Sports scientist Jacob says he has over. He actually said hammered the over. So I think a lot of people are taking the over in this one. Lindy, what are your thoughts?
Maybe I had something to do with that because I hammered the over. 209. Yeah, that's my favorite play. 209.5 is great here as long as you're getting that minus 105. I mean, I have this way north of it. So I'm with you from like a real life basketball perspective that I think the Magic might struggle to score on a per possession basis, but I think the pace is going to go up here. Jalen Suggs, more of a possession player on the offensive end. No Paulo Banchero, no Franz Wagner. He had kind of been doing everything for them. That immediately becomes 33 minutes of noted terrible defender Cole Anthony. He likes to find himself a bucket from time to time. I think there's actually some correlation with the over and Cole Anthony if you want to take both of them along for the ride, but it's going to be a lot of him handling the basketball. This is a guy that was out of the rotation to start off the season, making north of $10 million to just sit and go to Disney World, like good times. Cole Anthony is truly about as bad on the defensive side as it humanly possibly can get, but he's a plus basketball player on the offensive end. And you add in more minutes for Wendell Carter Jr., which I think they're kind of forced into. If they're struggling to find any kind of offense, you can say what you want about his defense. Jonathan Isaac, plug and play for, those high teens minutes as well. But I think more minutes of Wendell Carter and more minutes of a guy like Cole Anthony as opposed to a Jalen Suggs, I think it's going to actually add a lot more pace to this game. And I think that bears out when you go to a place like Dunks and Threes and you can put in your custom minutes and you kind of run different sample sizes of what can happen in the course of it. Obviously, the Knicks were not worried about putting up points. They're third in adjusted offensive rating right now. They've been a juggernaut, and I'm in shambles as a Timberwolves fan. Absolute shambles. But there is no doubt that I think this is an undervalued spot. So, yeah, at the same time that 99.5, I mean, we're talking about a really low number, and that's kind of what Orlando does with the pace. But, again, you're adding Cole Anthony, a guy who I think you just kind of played to the style of your main offensive player. He's got a 15.5 point prop. So he's the only guy on this Orlando side. Tristan DeSilva at 12.5, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope 11.5. Sometimes you just got to think about the construction of that team and then kind of, not have the sample size say what you want it to, but you can kind of see that Cole Anthony is going to add more pace. He's going to hurt them on the defensive end, and the Knicks winning by 20, where, they go for it. You get that, you thread the needle of the under 99.5 on the Orlando side, but you get a $120 from Orlando or from the Knicks side. And it gets closer to the total that I have for this, which is right around 218.
So you gave out the over in your video last night, Lindy?
Yes, I did.
That might have been what start, because I heard the over mentioned between late last night and this morning. I bet you started a lot of that.
Sometimes I have my moments, but again, like for me, these are the kind of spots where I'm a little bit surprised, but I'm also not surprised that like the public isn't running with this over, because again, this was like eye-catching as is at 209. Like anything under 210 in the NBA is pretty eye-catching these days, but it makes sense. Like Orlando has very little offensively available to them, but I think they're going to have to combat that with a little bit of pace. Goga Bitadze, obviously defensively against Karl Anthony Towns, he doesn't come out to the perimeter enough, and despite the fact that he's a good interior defender, this is probably going to be problematic if Cat plays for him.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple 210s, 210.5s popping up. Now, you still can get a 209.5, though. So what if I tailed, because I kind of like what Chris said, too. What if I took Knicks team total over?
Spread.
Let's spread the needle.
Like, it's the spread. Yeah, it's the spread in general. Because like Lindy said, what if it's 123 to 95? Like Orlando played Cal. So I know you've been doing a lot of football stuff. So I don't know if you saw the injury report yesterday for the Jazz.
I didn't.
But the Jazz beat on Saturday. The Jazz beat the Miami Heat by 30 in Miami, and they were on the second leg of a back-to-back. The line opened with Orlando laying 6 points, and then you see Lauri Markkanen get ruled out. John Collins gets ruled out. Who am I missing, Lindy? Keontae George gets ruled out.
Yep.
Jordan Clarkson gets ruled out. So the line goes to 9. The Orlando Magic score like 85 points against the G League team for Utah yesterday.
Collier, Juzang, and Potter just destroyed. It was absurd.
Flipikowski out there looking like an all-star.
Oh, God. That guy, his girlfriend needs to be sent to the Shadow Realm. I mean, what are we actually doing here? Mormons are crazy, man. Mormons are crazy.
I just wrote Knicks down on my list of possible bets. Still haven't heard one that I completely like. I'm probably going to put a few dollars on that Giannis triple-double. But as so far, I'm still scanning for something. Now, this next game, somebody said in the comments before, Kyle, please bet Nets plus 10.5. It's a lock. It's any quote, he said that. Please.
Yeah, I'm mad at myself. I was going to bet Indy. I threw it out as like, hey, I didn't bet this, but it is technically like right on the fringe of playable. And I had a feeling it would get bet up, and oh boy, it got launched.
What number?
7.5?
Oh, was that 7.5?
Yeah, 7.5 at open. It was just disturbing. Sometimes it's not even like, those are the most frustrating to me. Is it's like, all right, I'm going to try to show a little bit of caution, and you kind of know that it's going to go that direction. It's like, well, then dipshit, just bet both sides of it. Get 8, 9, 10 for free. Like, what are you actually doing? But it's the frustrating part of doing this every day. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, it's impossible to pull the trigger correctly every single time.
Yep.
So now we're at 10.5. I'm assuming not playable on the Indiana side.
Nope. I'm hoping that somehow, some way, Indy doesn't cover because that'll make me feel better. I just need them to not cover 7.5.
No, it needs to land on 8. So then you'll be like, okay, I had it right in my head.
I had the perfect middle, and I now am going to go feed my dog, the remnants of my scraps because I can't afford kibble. Let's see. I don't really like anything in this game anymore. It was already kind of a tough read. I know D'Angelo Russell was somebody that I was very early to, and then he ends up getting dinged up when I had like 7 points and assists of closing line value. We went from 20.5 to 27.5 at close with Simmons once he got ruled out, and then D'Lo gets dinged in the shin, and that was the end of the game for him. I haven't been that stressed about a bet in forever. But stuff like that happens in sports. You have to deal with it and you move on. But Miles Turner is my favorite one. I just reran everything. 13.5 points. I really like that, actually. Minus 125 over at BetMGM. So I wanted to find something here. I actually don't even hate the double-double at plus 400, but I'm not going to get that zesty with you. What I'm looking at here is usage. And Darko always takes into account, like, recent games, trying to like show what's going on with a specific player, and he's one guy who's seen a positive fluctuation towards his Darko numbers. And again, that's like I'm not trying to sound whatever kerfuffery, just kind of saying something for the sake of saying it. The whole point is that Miles Turner's usage is going up here, and I think that's going to maintain. It's been to good results for them. They blew out Phoenix. They blew out Miami. They played a more competitive game than it would appear against Milwaukee. And they beat Boston on the second half of that in Boston, the road back-to-back, which is always so weird. But Miles Turner, 17, 15, 12, been playing pretty decent defense, and he's locked into more of a permanent, like, no matter what, you're not going to see Obi Toppin mixing in because they just need to have Miles Turner out there for Nicholas Claxton. So I think there's a little bit of an insurance policy on that. What you really need is you just need the shot attempts, because this is a lower than normal total that you're getting on the Pacers side of 222.5. But yeah, Miles Turner, decent enough usage here for me that I think that's a really, really nice bet.
You said minus 125?
Minus 125. Yeah, a little bit heftier number, but I mean, if you got this at 14.5 even money, which is at Bet Rivers, I would be just fine with that as well. It's just like, what's the probability of him landing on that specific number? I always think about like vig juice. I always think about it in percentages. So like, you're getting minus 125, like inside of 57%, 56%. And then if you're getting it at even money, obviously that's 50-50, where the break even number, that's just how my brain always works with this stuff when I'm looking at it in the sheet. We have tools that do it for you, so I don't have to think too much about it. But I think both of those two are very advantageous. Either the 13.5 minus 125 BetMGM or Bet Rivers 14.5 even money.
Chris, anything for this one?
Nah, this is complete pass. I agree with Lindy. I should have just took Indiana yesterday. I think that Brooklyn, without both Cams, no Cam Thomas, no Cam Johnson, D'Angelo was listed as questionable. Ben Simmons was listed as questionable. I'm just not. I wanted to get there with a Pacers team total over. I can't though, because I'm not sure how many points they're going to need to score. Brooklyn offense is terrible right now, and I'm definitely not taking the Brooklyn team total under though. Not with the Pacers 29th rated defense over the last 5 games. So I stayed on the sideline. Easy pass for me here.
Someone said, can you explain that percentage? I'm assuming they're asking. Rephrase the question, because Lindy's always happy to answer questions like that.
Yeah. So you can go to like an implied odds calculator. I think that's probably the easiest one, whether, that's with us or whether that's with a competitor. I really don't care. Just find the betting odds calculator, and you can basically plug in any American odds. So minus 125, 55.5% is your break even number. So if you win the bet that specific amount of times, like if you're projecting it out, 55.5% of the time he's going to go over 13.5. Well, that's probably not a great bet. You're looking for at least 1, 2, 3% on the other side of that. You want it to be 58, 59%. And that's where we calculate expected value from. And so, obviously you can have negative EV on something as well. And if you bet 14.5 at minus 125 and you have them projected at 50%, well, that's going to be a losing bet long term. So hopefully that can make some sense, but I'll just throw out one. Action Network has a really good betting odds implied calculator. There's no bells and whistles. You just plug in the betting odds. And if you want to get into modeling, if you want to get into stats, it's a really fun thing to do, just to kind of get a concept of like, oh, I need to win 57% of my bets here, 1.5% expected value over the course of the season.
Right. So at minus 125, if you think Miles Turner has a 54% chance of getting 14 or more points, that's actually not a valuable bet because
correct.
Yes.
Perfectly put. Yep.
And that speech needs to be given at least once a week during baseball season when we're betting.
We got Toast. We got Toast. You'll be so nice and calm and kind talking to the people about that too.
When someone wants to take an underdog, and hold on, let me get Proppy back on the screen. When Toast or somebody bets an underdog, and someone's like, "How do you not take the Blue Jays when they're minus 170?"
Yeah.
What you'll just
Colorado plus 2.5. Going to be one of the more popular lines going forward.
You'll see Toast blood boil when like someone doesn't understand why he's playing an underdog.
Oh, I can't wait for those rants. That'll be fun.
Oh. Hey, Lindy, did you play Pacers, or you said no Pacers?
I didn't play Pacers. I probably deserve 10 lashings after this program to account for it, but it is what it is. I'm a fuck boy. That's my fault.
No,
wow.
See, I agree. I mean, for myself as well, the reason why I asked is because I'm looking at the Pacers real quick. Since last year, this is a hell of a trend. Since last year, if the Pacers win on the road in the regular season, they're 29-1 against the spread. 29-1.
29-1.
Wait,
29-1. If the Pacers win on the road, like in their road win since the start of last season, they're 29-1 against the spread. They win by average of about 12.
That's not all as favorites though, because
no. This is just win. If the Pacers are on the road and they win the game, they average 126 points since the start of last season, and they give up 114.9.
Oh, okay. So you're saying when they're road favorites, they're usually they're not winning and not covering. They're usually covering the number when they win. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm just saying if they win, if the Pacers win on the road, they cover the number 96.7% of the time since the start of last season.
Yeah, all right. I'm following. All right, Prop people, welcome back to the broadcast.
Hello.
You have a lock to give us?
Yeah, I'm actually betting on your boy. I'm a known Rudy Gobert hater. I think he's a scum. Think he carries very little value to a basketball team. But I am betting his over assists tonight because you could get this actually right. I actually lost CLV on this, but I don't care. I lost CLV on Foster Moreau yesterday. Top bet. I mean, cashed out with ease.
You got it by like 9 yards.
Eat my ass, okay? Guy made it look silly, okay? He went over his line by at least 25%. I would say that's with ease. Now listen, Rudy Gobert, he's under his last 6 or 7 games. The Frenchman has 0 assists in 5 of those 6 misses. So why are we backing him to get 2 with confidence here? At the big price, a plus 190, you could get this on Fanatics. Well, the majority of those games were on the road. For some reason, this man is significantly better at home when it comes up to racking up those dimes with Randall, Ant, and Conley active. On the road, under his last 7 of 8, averaging just 0.6. At home, over his last 9 of 13, averaging 1.9. And Gobert specifically at home against the West, over his last 8 of 9 in these spots with the aforementioned trio, averaging 2.1. Now he's going to face this Clips team that allows the most assists to centers, and they're allowing it at an unholy rate on the season. Most assists per game, last 30, 6 most, last 2 weeks. Most. We've now seen an opposing center cast their assist line versus the Clippers, their last 11 of 16 opportunities, and Gobert already has great history against this team. 4-0 in their last 4 matchups, averaging 4 assists per game on 4.5 potentials. With 3+ potentials, Gobert's over his last 10 of 13 contests, and is over 5 straight at home specifically. This rude boy better give it up today. That's all I got to say.
So yeah, Rudy Gobert over 1.5 assists at a big plus price. I commend you for taking time out of your day to look at Rudy Gobert assist patterns. Personally, what do you guys?
Me too.
I call it an illness.
There are so many other things we could have been doing. But
what are your guys' thoughts on that?
You first, Chris. I have language I need to filter.
Me too. I'll say good luck, probably. I hope you cash tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What the fuck? Like,
yeah,
what are we actually doing? 1.5 assists. Didn't see that one coming.
I know.
Honestly, have no words. I'm looking through it right now.
You know what? I'll tail.
Thank you.
Not.
I'll tail.
Dude, he's your boy. You got to tail. He's literally your boy.
I like him as a defensive presence. I don't like him to distribute.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
you know
a
he's
little
got
bit
Foxy in the passing game.
I'm tailing.
Oh,
I'm tailing, all right?
You know he can rifle him out.
You know, he can
Unbelievable.
rifle him out. All right, what do you guys have for this game?
Nothing. Minnesota just leaning that direction. I hate this game, especially Rudy Gobert assist.
You don't want to tail?
Are
No,
you sure?
I really don't.
Are you sure?
I'm actually contemplating a slam dunk under. Like I can't imagine that I would ever want to like fade somebody more than fading this play. Like
We'll drink the minus 230.
Really,
He'll drink the
oh my
minus
god,
230.
it's a free leg. It's a free leg.
Okay.
It's like yeah, like Golden Corral. Let's go.
Chris is like, I wish you good luck. Probably.
Yeah, I wish you good luck. Probably better than Rudy Gobert. I don't think I've ever looked. I'll say this probably. But I have looked into some props that people are like, what? So I can agree with that, but never Rudy Gobert's assist. Like that's not one of them. Yeah, but I did bet Timberwolves here. I'm sorry, Clippers. I bet Clippers plus the points. I got them at +3 last night. They have not been good against the Timberwolves. They've not been good in revenge spots either. But they have been playing a little bit better recently. And I know it's more than just the Atlanta game. Getting Kawhi back, I think, helps a lot defensively in this spot. Minnesota is not doing it's a lot of connectiveness that's not really happening. This team is really not connected. They've lost 3 straight games. You got double revenge spot here. Like I said, they haven't been good in revenge angles, but it's difficult to want to lay points with the Timberwolves right now, man. You go into Detroit with the rest advantage and them being on the second leg of a back-to-back, and you just absolutely lay an egg. I don't think that they're going to be able to score the basketball because the Clippers defensively, with Trey Mann being back, in addition to Kawhi Leonard, I think really slows the tempo down in this game. So I took team total under as well. Clippers had a defensive rating of 90 I know Kawhi's not going to play a lot of minutes, but like I said, Trey Mann is back as well. They had a defensive efficiency rating of 90 with him on the floor. Minnesota not playing fast, 27th pace, bottom 5 in transition frequency. Outside of Anthony Edwards, dropping 53 points, nobody else did anything for this team. And I think, Coach Chris Finch is going to have to switch it up eventually. They're talking about moving DiVincenzo into the starting lineup, potentially even putting Naz Reid into the starting lineup and having Mike Conley, who looks like a shell of himself, come off the bench. So I don't know, man. Timberwolves, I know that they are 4-11 against the number at the crib, 6-9 off a loss, so no automatic bounce back for them. And the Clippers have been a lot better in this role as a dog. They are 21-14 against the spread on the season, 16-12 in conference play, 12-7 after a win. So I like the Clippers plus the points. I think this line should have been closer to a pick. And I like the movement, at least a little bit, of coming down to 2.5.
There's a lot of people fading that Gobert pick. Just a lot of people setting themselves up to take a -230 loss to Prop Beaver right here.
Somebody told me to give it up. I mean, that was like the first comment I saw. Beaver just give it up. So it's like, okay, well, you guys will see tonight. I mean, first play of the game is going to be a fucking Gobert, like heaving it across court to Ant Edwards, lob, dunk, slammer.
All right. Next game. Oh, Prop Beaver staying with us.
Yes, I am staying with you guys.
Back to back.
This one's a lot more respectful of a play. I will
Isn't
say
it
that.
Wemby? Aren't you on Wemby?
Yeah, it is Wemby. I love this spot for him. Over 27.5 points. Bulls have been getting abused by centers lately. I mean, I think the high pace is really getting to my man Vooch. Last 6 games, especially from the perimeters. I mean, centers are smashing their points and 3-pointer props in the process. We saw Cat with 44 and 3.
Sorry, just hold you up. My graphic says Wemby over 26.5 points. Did I make it wrong?
No, that's what I got it at last night, but it got boosted up to 27.5. So the live line is at 27.5. I said I'd play it up to 27.5, so I'm still more than fine with it at the current number. Yeah, so Cat just had 44 against them. Jonas Valanciunas just had 14, 22 minutes. Mark Williams, pretty low usage center, 20. We just saw Brook Lopez with 22 and 21 against this team. So now we got Wemby coming in, nice buy low spot. Just had an ugly 7-19 overall and 2-12 from 3-point performance in the altitude at Denver. Now he's going to face a Bulls defense that really is a fantastic matchup for him. He really attacks 2 spots. attacks the rim, and he loves to shoot the above the break three. Well, this Bulls defense, worst in the league at protecting the rim, and they've allowed the third most three-pointers made to the center position over the last month. Also, Wemby scores the majority of his points as the pick and roll man, 16% of his points. Bulls, worst defense in the league against the pick and roll. Get this, I was using Props Madness, actually great site, would highly recommend it. Against bottom 10 defenses with the trio of Vassell, CP3, and Barnes active, he's 5-1 to the over, averaging 38 points per game. I mean, that's just absolutely absurd here. And then on top of that, I'm going to mind you, the Bulls, third in pace this season. With that trio and Jeremy Sohan active, he's over his last 6 of 8 against teams in the top 27 to pace, averaging 30, 3-1 against teams in the top 15 to pace as well. His hit rate drops to for 30 plus, drops pretty decently without Sohan on the court. I was considering taking a little 26.5 and a little 30 plus action, but I'm just going to roll with the 1.5 at 26.5, now 27.5. So yeah, really like Wembanyama today.
Someone said Lindy looks sad now. The Gobert assist prop just killed his vibes.
I'm sorry, man.
You're muted.
I was muted.
How could I not? I mean, like,
It's true.
It's Gobert assists. I'm a Minnesota fan, and I want to punch and break everything inside of this studio right now. It is really hard to be me, and it is really hard to keep cheering for Rudy Gobert. It is difficult. It's increasingly
How about
difficult.
Sam Darnold, though?
Why?
I was just wondering if you wanted to talk about Sam. That's all. I
He had
bet the
a bad
Vikings.
game. Is he not allowed to have a bad game? He
Not
had
when
one
I
bad
bet Vikings +3 in the biggest game of the year.
Oh.
No, he's not.
Okay, yeah, he definitely had deer in the headlights. I think that's the best way I could describe it. There were so many open throws that he just normally has been making all year. There were about 3 or 4 to Addison that I rewatched the game because I hate myself, and I was just like, what are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? So, yeah, that was fun. Now my vibe's really killed. Nah, I mean, I'm just going to cry on stream. -148. It's not going to be as playable as it was before. I'd be looking at -2.5, but I have a -130 San Antonio Spurs money line ticket. They are going to basically be in a track meet here. I kind of like what San Antonio's done here now that they're perfectly healthy and keeping the minutes kind of limited towards Keldon Johnson. Sometimes this is probably the more underutilized, like talked about thing when it comes to NBA and trying to like find small minute edges, keeping guys in specific roles because they're more effective in 18 minutes than they're going to be in 28 minutes. And that is like the Keldon Johnson experience. If you go for like on a per minute basis, he's not a very good basketball player. Olympic gold medalist Keldon Johnson for what it's worth, but he is definitely somebody that as you start to see his sample size on minutes come down, he becomes more efficient out on the floor. I mean, there's just, we can think of like all those bench guys, 18 minutes that come off the bench in the Golden State heyday, that just go out. Sean Livingston, hey, 18, 20 minutes, go set the world on fire and get the hell out of there. Like that's what you want Keldon Johnson doing for your team. And now Stephon Castle is going to kind of be locked into that 24, 25 type minute role too, where I think we're going to see him extremely effective off the bench here. They've, obviously made it known that they're going to go back to Sohan in the starting unit and just kind of start off games that way. But Stephon Castle is a winning basketball player. I like a lot of the pieces around Wemby right now. Chris Paul is the perfect guy to come in and try to help develop and help like just be a constant for a young team that otherwise you'd have a lot of uncertainty about. I don't have any uncertainty taking on the Chicago Bulls without Ayo Dosunmu, who's definitely your defensive stopper. And on a per possession basis against these guards, San Antonio should be able to thrive. Chris Paul just, finds a way to keep it going here for Wemby. Wemby is like 27.5. I saw it like inside of -110. It's slightly positive EV still. I like the play on the Wemby one as well. If you're looking to have some real fun and try to, dip in both pools, I think it probably makes more sense now than betting it at -150.
Maybe Spurs money line, Wemby 18 plus or something.
Yep.
I'm down to bet the Spurs with you guys. I actually saw on your video from last night that you had bet the Spurs, Lindy. So I'm down to tail and play the Spurs too. I'm in.
Yep.
Chris?
Devin Vassell's nice too. I like him so much.
I like Devin Vassell a lot too. I need him to show up today because I'm also on the money line. I got this about the same number that Wendy got as well. And When I was looking into it, the only thing I'll add a couple things that Wendy didn't say is I don't really like taking like favorites on the road that were also coming off an overtime game, where the overtime game was also on the second leg of a back-to-back. That seems like it's a little too much. But when I was looking into the numbers, they've been super profitable straight up in this spot. 48, 27, and 1 against the number as well. So that's a strong trend that backs San Antonio if you're a road favorite coming off an overtime game that was also the second leg of a back-to-back. Chicago, very inconsistent team. They can lose to the Wizards by 18, or they can beat Boston by 10. Off a win though is typically when you want to fade them. When I was looking into this a little bit more, Chicago off of win are 5-9-1 against the spread. So this is when you can't trust them, which is really after they've done something well. When I get into the on-off court stuff, kind of matching the two teams up on the floor, I'm looking at the Spurs defense. Kyle, one of those bets you hit was Denver team total under.
Damn right.
The other night, and it's because San Antonio and the team total went under. Denver's team total went under the second night, even with overtime as well. San Antonio's the third best
in that game as well.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. Denver, San Antonio's third best defensive team over the last 5 games. When you look at where Chicago's scoring the basketball, it's all threes. They run a very, very similar style to the Brooklyn Nets, where they just shoot a bunch of threes. They're taking the 4th most threes, making the 5th highest rate. They're shooting about 39%. San Antonio, number 1 defensively last 5 games versus the 3-point shot. San Antonio also the best transition defense in the NBA. We know Chicago wants to get out. They're number 1 in pace over the last 5 games. So I think Chicago is going to struggle to score. I thought about adding Chicago team total under as well, but I didn't. Some more trends just to kind of top it off. San Antonio 9-6 against the spread on the road. So they've been profitable on the road this season. 8-5 as a favorite, 11-5 against the number coming off a loss. And I mentioned the Bulls being 2-7 in non-conference games, 5-9-1 against the spread if they're coming off a win. And just 3-7 if they're coming off a win, and then they're a dog in the next game. So I like San Antonio on the money line. I think they get there's also a revenge spot. They lost to the Bulls early this season. I think they get their revenge in this game.
All right, we're a Spurs program today. Move on to the next one. Prop Beaver, that's it for you, right?
That's it for me. Everybody have a great day. Best of luck with your bets.
Cool.
You too.
Let's go Rudy, baby. Let's go Bear, baby. Frenchman up.
Yeah.
All right, let's get Chris back on here. Let's go Bear, baby.
Wee.
Oh my God. I've never wanted a bet to not hit. I want a 0 so bad for Rudy Gobert now.
No, you know what would be like poetic is if he had like 8 potential assists and his field goal attempts went 0-8 on his passes.
I'm pulling up NBA.com, making sure I have that tab ready to go in the morning. Refresh. Just sitting there. Wee. Let's go.
He put a lot of eggs in the Rudy Gobert assist basket.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got.
Put his hands all over that. We all Rudy Gobert.
And a lot of people in the comments are like fading, setting it up. It's going to be a showdown. No one's watching the games. No one's watching. Everyone's eyes are on Gobert and his distribution.
Oh my God. What a time to be alive.
Last game.
Hell of a time to be alive.
Strange times indeed. Memphis, Sacramento. Are we looking at a new Kings team here that we can consider betting, guys?
Is this the right game?
You skip one, Kyle. You skip Dallas and Memphis.
We have Dallas. We have Dallas playing Memphis, and then it's Dallas playing Memphis and Miami and Sacramento tonight.
Yeah, Miami, Sacramento.
Yeah, we're so we have Dallas, Memphis, and Miami, Sacramento. So we did. Let me see if the next one is. Nope, the next one's college basketball. All right, so I don't have the graphics for the last 2 games. So why don't we just? You guys.
We can combo them together. That's fine.
What do you guys like in the last 2 games? How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
start it up.
Whoever wants to.
Sure, I can. Yeah. So first one, which one are we going to first? Which one you want to do first?
Mavericks, Grizzlies. How about?
Mavericks, Grizzlies. I didn't play the game. I do lean towards Memphis being back home. This is not just a conference game, a divisional game. They're both of these teams are struggling right now. We just got news that Kyrie is going to be out for an extended period of time. Not a super extended period of time, but there was potential for him to play tomorrow. This is the first leg of a back-to-back for the Dallas Mavericks. They got the Lakers coming to town tomorrow. So I thought that they're probably just resting them again for that. But I want no parts of Dallas without Luka and Kyrie. They really, really struggled recently. to score the ball, to get defensive stops. There was an injury bug kind of going around, not an injury bug, but an illness going around the team. Players kind of talking about it. I know that both of these teams are coming off bad spots. I just think Memphis at the crib, they've been profitable. I think they are 10-2 against the spread off a loss, 13-5 against the spread at home. I want to say 12-4. 14-4. I think it is first half against the spread at home. I feel like they got a little bit more, even with Desmond Bane potentially being listed as doubtful. They should get Trey Jones back in this spot. John Contrast off the injury report. So yeah, I just can't take Dallas right now without Luka and Kyrie. I think they're 0-5 against the spread, and Memphis plays their best basketball at home. So I didn't bet it, but that's the way I was looking. Could potentially add it, I guess, but I couldn't quite get there with the Dallas side of things, even though I think that they are a really good basketball team.
So we're talking about a Memphis first half or Memphis -5 lead.
Yes, I think it's like -2, -2.5.
Got it. Lindy?
Yeah, so Desmond Bane, doubtful. I'm surprised this number still exists on this player, but Luke Kennard is upgraded to questionable for tonight. So it's either voided or, you're getting really nice closing line value, I think. On over 4.5 assists for Luke Kennard. It's a little bit off the beaten path, I would say, as far as a play. But over the last month, without Desmond Bane, without John Morant on the floor, we're starting to see more minutes for Luke Kennard than Scottie Pippen Jr. And Luke Kennard, going back to his Clippers days, he's known for being a three-point shooter. He was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. And this season, he is yet again 44.6% from three. But we're starting to see an assist rate that is going up. And Memphis continues to put these ridiculous game environments together. I know that you've got the total right there for that game. 231.5 is your total that you're looking at here. So a lot more possessions there, but plus 116 over at Caesars. I thought that was a really nice play. I added it to the card and I feel pretty confident about that one. And for the evening game, I might have to go back to the Tyler Herro and go try to make something happen in terms of his rebounds plus assists. We've seen nearly a 40% assist rate, nearly 30% usage here without Jimmy Butler on the floor over the last month as well for Tyler Herro, starting to take over more of the assist role that we've seen Bam Adebayo kind of have in years past with Jimmy Butler off the floor. I find it strange that they're not playing through Bam Adebayo more, especially, you're trying to maybe sway some suitors to come over to Miami. You're not going to have Jimmy Butler on this team for very long. I'm not sure how they make the money work. It's going to have 3 teams involved in something for Jimmy Butler. But in this specific spot, I do think Tyler Herro, at least somebody that's interesting in terms of combining his stats. But that's not going anywhere here for now. So I'm going to be piecing it together later.
Yeah, we know that the graphics are the wrong game. Going through a little bit about the graphics.
Lindy, Cal, you guys got any thoughts? Because I didn't go through the last game, but what are your, leans on Miami-Sacramento? Miami coming off that big loss. Sacramento second leg of a back-to-back. Been really humming on offense, making a bunch of threes. Beat Golden State by 30. The Jazz are also, the Heat also coming off a 36-point loss to Utah. Any thoughts on that one? I think I'm just going to sit and watch, but feels like one of these teams are going to win, and I kind of feel like it's going to be big.
Kings, right? Got to go Kings.
I see De'Aaron Fox just got ruled out.
Is like basically betting Gobert assists. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Where's Estot? Who should we bet in this one, Estot?
Do we have to ask?
Nah, we already know he's taking the Heat 82 consecutive times.
I leaned / said again, it was positive EV to bet Sacramento at 2.5. I'm not going to bet him at 3.5. I can't do it.
It's come back down, Lindy. It's back down to 2.5 with De'Aaron Fox being ruled out since we started the show.
God, mother of Christ. I don't want to. I don't want to, Chris. I don't want to.
Don't get goaded into
I understand.
it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so
do we think Jimmy Butler being like a major distraction in the locker room impacts this game? I did look into the Heat coming off such a big loss. They don't lose by 30 plus a lot. Last time they lost by 35 was December 29th back in 2020. They lost by 47 to the Bucks. They're 7-4 straight up, 8-3 against the number in their franchise history when they're coming off a 35-point loss or more. Kind of like, Spoelstra type thing. But to your point, Kyle, feel like Doug Christie to unlock something with the offense. Even without De'Aaron Fox yesterday, they hang 130 on the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I'm good on I'm good on just passing with this one.
Same. I wanted to hear what you guys thought.
I'm gonna
I didn't
force
even
some
look.
Tyler Herro garbage into the world. Don't worry.
Yeah,
No, I do like the Tyler. I like the Tyler Herro look, Lindy. I talked about his prop over against the Jazz. I think it was 5.5. He had 6 at halftime. Didn't even really get any more after that. But yeah, usage has just been crazy, like you mentioned.
No, I put $100 on his rebounds plus assists. It was like 10 plus 9, and that was probably $100 that could have gone to charity. That would have been better.
How about we talk some college basketball real quick? You guys want to tell the fine folks before we bring Toast on where they can find your stuff?
I'll go super quick. At Crispy Captain, 2 P's, 2 N's over on YouTube and X or Twitter. You can find all my work. I do a morning show about 7:30. If we ever get, I just want to 5-second bit. If we ever get like some consistency within the injury report, I would love to go back to doing like night shows. I love your night shows, Kyle. Lindy, I got to start checking yours out as well. I mean, like I was looking into games for tomorrow already. I think Washington is going to get smoked at home versus Houston. And then I see Jalen Green pop up on the injury report. Like he's questionable. Like Jordan Poole was still questionable. Like I have no idea. Bilal Kumba. So I say all that to say, just check me out over on YouTube. But yeah, morning show about 7:30, 8 o'clock a.m. Appreciate you having me on, Kyle. Best of luck tonight, fellas.
Lindy?
Yeah, you can find me over on Odd Shopper on the YouTube channel. You can find me on X at Eric Lindquist down below for the handle. I'm going to start tweeting out some of my Lindy's Leans Likes Locks stats that I'm going through every single night before. Give people a little bit of a different dimension rather than just simply talking through the plays. I love this forum. I love the live forum, and I love this community to be able to jump on and be able to talk through the process of stuff. I always enjoyed that a little bit more. Not always afforded that because you got to talk really, really fast over there on the YouTubes for some people with my content. But just shout out Sauce, shout out Kyle, and everybody back here. We're thinking about you guys. Props to you guys right off the bat. Just persevering, pushing through the last couple days. But we're all thinking about you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, I echo that too, Lindy.
Yeah, that's what he wanted us to do. So it's tough. Last night it was just like you find yourself like staring at your computer screen, like, damn, I'm not getting anything done, and it's tough. It's tough to focus right now. But appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you coming on and helping out while I'm just playing host here, get my thoughts back together. But yeah, you guys enjoy your day. Let's bring on Toast and talk some college basketball.
F you, Toast. Yeah, bye, buddy.
All right. Oh man, I don't think you heard that. That would have been a good one. The people didn't hear it either because I didn't get you on the screen yet. Toast said, "Enjoy the same ghosts that Sam Darnold's seeing." All right, Toast, we got 3 games queued up for today. First one is Wisconsin Rutgers. Rutgers are 2-point home dogs here.
Yeah. Man, it kind of sucks being alone. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is like the first show I've had to do without Andy, so it kind of sucks. I'm on Wisconsin here. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. I'm on Rutgers here. I'm on Rutgers, and I have a full unit on Rutgers. I first and foremost, I think this line, I know that there's a lot of questions about Dylan Harper and if he's going to play or not. I know Rothstein tweeted he's questionable. I just feel like this line being 1.5, 2, whatever you want to call it, just tells me that he's going to play. I mean, you have a Wisconsin team that's been amazing. I mean, there's no way to come up here and poke holes at what Wisconsin's done, considering their last game, they put up 116 points in a Big Ten conference game, whether that's home or on the road. That's extremely, extremely impressive. They've played a top 40 schedule. There are only 3 losses to Michigan, Marquette, and Illinois. Now, 2 of those 3 games were on the road, which this game is here today. So why do I like Rutgers, Jesus. I think it's just kind of a buy low, sell high type of a spot for them. I mean, first of all, the line just tells me a lot, like I was saying. You have a Wisconsin team that's been so very good and a Rutgers team that's, I don't want to say so very bad because they're still playing like a top 50 schedule in the country, but Rutgers with losses to Kennesaw State, Princeton, and they just kind of got blown out against Indiana. Now, against Indiana, that game was on the road. They tend to play much better at the Rack. Yes, I'm well aware it's called New Jersey Mike's Arena. Don't care. It's still called the Rack to me. And they've played much better at home here. And I do think that there's ways for Rutgers to be successful here, especially offensively. One thing that Wisconsin hasn't done well so far this year is to contain guys that can dribble. And that's one thing that Harper and Bailey both can do. So I do think that they're going to be able to get downhill and score against the Badgers. And another thing is that Wisconsin is a very, very good shooting team offensively. Everything that they do is very good. But one of the best things that they do, and I think the best thing that they do, is their ability to hit their free throws, almost making 86% of their free throws this year. Hopefully, they're not going to be having a whole bunch of attempts against this Rutgers team, because Rutgers is one of the best teams in the country, top 40 and not fouling. Teams just don't get to the free throw line a lot when you see a team like Rutgers. And then Rutgers defensively, another thing is that they struggle with guys that can get inside and bang around. You saw the last game against Omar Ball and I say Arizona, it's Indiana. Ball in Indiana really did a really good job in there. Almost Rutgers couldn't do anything about him. That's not really how Wisconsin plays. I mean, they have Wisconsin's trying to use their guys on the wing. I really feel like this is like a buy low, sell high type of a spot with buy low with Rutgers, sell high with Wisconsin. Again, this line tells me more than anything. But I also think that Rutgers should be able to get out in transition and hit some easy baskets, because they do play very well with pace. So, and on top of that, Rutgers has one of those things is that Rutgers has a huge, it's an advantage for sure height wise, but it's another thing where Wisconsin hasn't had to deal with a lot of teams as big as Rutgers. So maybe the ball doesn't move as smoothly as it has in the past. So I just think it's a really big ask of Wisconsin to come and score 116 points at home. And then a couple of days later, travel into the rack against I would say, a desperate Rutgers team here. So, like I said, I'm on Rutgers here. I have a full unit on Rutgers. I got it at 1.5. If it's obviously 2, it's all the same. But yeah, I'm on Rutgers.
Rutgers, it is. Scoop says it's a buy low, sell low spot for Rutgers.
I hate you, Scoop.
Why isn't Scoop on?
I was going to say that, and I just let it go.
Because he's not dedicated?
I don't think so. I think he just hates me sometimes and wants to see me flail by myself on the screen.
TCU Houston, we're talking about 8.5. What is TCU's team total in this game? 40?
18.5.
This is crazy. The total for this game is 128.5, and Houston's laying 18.5.
I played the under 128 personally. I think, first of all, Houston is a team that likes to play through if everybody knows this, likes to play through their defense and slow. The one thing that's been a positive for Houston this year is their ability to hit the 3-point shot, 41, almost 42% as a team. That's best for third in the nation. And if you, again, I don't know what the lines were in some of these other games, but Houston has played very, very well in Big 12 home games. Last year, they were beating teams by 34, 23, 15, 22, 16, 21, 30. They had a couple games where they only beat teams by 8. And then they started off this year, obviously, 31-point winner or whatever it was against BYU. So it's just me thinking that Houston is going to play slow and play through their defense, like I said. So I don't expect a lot. They're going to score, but I don't expect them to put up a shit ton of points. And then a TCU team that I don't trust offensively to save their life. They can't shoot free throws. They can't make shots inside. And they're definitely not going to be making threes against this Houston team. So TCU, I don't know what the TCU team total is. I can look really quick. I wouldn't mind that. I played under 128.5. I don't think that TCU scores more than probably 45 points in this game. Their team total is 53.5. So in my head, 45 to 47 points for this TCU team. If Houston puts up 80, we're still good. So it's under for me. More or less a fade of the TCU offense, which has been terrible all year, and a little bit and a play on of the Houston defense and pace, not to mention the fact that I don't think they're going to be shooting at over 40% from deep this whole season. And if they are, they're going to be an even bigger factor in March, but I don't see that happening.
All right, let's move on to the final game we have queued up here, and that game is Ohio State, Minnesota.
This is like the definition of sharps versus squares.
Public's
everybody public's going to take Ohio State. Anybody that watches college basketball and bets it and can see that these numbers are kind of weird is probably going to be on Minnesota here. It's a complete pass for me. I would love to come on here and tell you guys that I'm on Minnesota. Let's fucking go. All that stuff. Don't know. I can't do it because I don't know if the market knows how bad Minnesota is. Obviously, Scoop had a big play on Purdue the last time out on the second, and obviously Minnesota got absolutely throttled. And that game was at home. Now, is Purdue a much better team than Ohio State? Absolutely, especially at the point guard position. That's the one thing that I really quickly with Purdue is that you can kind of start to trust them because they have a very good head coach and very good guards, if not one of the best point guards in the country, not named Cam Jones. But I don't know what to expect from this Ohio State team. They were starting to play well, especially in the beginning of just going back to the beginning of December after those 2 back-to-back losses to Pittsburgh and Maryland. They had a really decent game against Rutgers where they won that game by double digits, maybe even 20. I'm not sure, but it was a nice win against Rutgers, and that game was at home as well. And then obviously Ohio State losing to Auburn doesn't really do anything for me, but then solid wins against Valpo, Kentucky, and Indiana State. Like, I was on Ohio State against Michigan. I thought that was going to be a really good spot for them. Ohio State's played a crazy good schedule, top 25 in the country, and they were never in that Michigan State game. And I don't know if we're going to start to see the three-point shooting from Ohio State to regress, shooting close to 40% from deep as a team, and against Michigan State. And again, Michigan State's a good defense, but I mean, they shot 7 of 27 at home against Michigan State. And again, I'm not trying to make a case that this Minnesota defense is the same thing as a Michigan State defense, but it's not like it's like head and shoulders worse. I mean, the Michigan State defense is like a top 10, top 15 team in the country. That's very good. But Minnesota is like a top 100 team. So it's, again, I'm just trying to make a case that the difference between Michigan State and Minnesota defensively isn't huge. And the other thing with Minnesota is that they're going to slow this game down to an absolute crawl. They're 334th in average possession length. So Ohio State is going to have to really work for possessions here, or extra possessions, because Ohio State doesn't play fast either. They're in the 200s as far as possession length as well. Neither one of these teams can shoot free throws. That's another thing. It's really hard to back an Ohio State team I think this game is probably going to be very slow moving. And if they're not hitting their threes on the road, you can't really depend on them to hit their free throws. Minnesota can match up with them size-wise. Minnesota is also a very experienced team. Minnesota doesn't turn the ball over. So there's avenues that I feel like Minnesota can slow this game down and make sure that Ohio State doesn't beat you from deep. And if that's the case, they're going to be in this game. But I just think that Minnesota could possibly be that damn bad, and they've been pretty much blown out in all 3 of their Big Ten games to start: Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue. I would go venture to say that Ohio State's pretty better than head and shoulders better than Indiana. I think Indiana sucks, to be honest with you guys. So again, I don't. It's hard for me to come on here and think that Minnesota is going to be keeping this game close and actually put money on it. My head and my heart think that, but again, if I had to make a play, it'd definitely be Minnesota here. But I just can't do it. I don't really trust either one of these teams right now.
You had to make a play, it would be Minnesota.
I'm sorry, that was like a lot to have no play, but there was a lot that kind of went into it.
It's all right. It was the last one. All right, so it leans Minnesota. I'll put it on the screen. All right, let's do the community parlay and get out of here. Let's play the song.
The parlay we bet parlay is for the in a parlay. Yeah.
Yep. Let's run the polls real quick.
A couple of people have asked. I'm on the other plays that I'm on, UTRGV, but I got them at 2. It's like 3.5 now. It's just a lot. This is just a big difference. I played Texas Southern minus 3.5, and I played the over in the Wichita State game as well. So
go ahead and cast your votes. Did you get a flight?
Yeah, flights and all that. Pretty sure just got to find a babysitter for Thursday, and we're good to go.
Cool.
Just sucks that it's like so short notice because they're not cheap.
Yeah. I'll send the money out. But yeah, thank you, Mr. Weskers. Thanks everyone for the support. Yeah, like I said, all the comments and everything meant a lot to the family. That when it happened, I had to announce it. I was like, man, people aren't going to get how good of a kid this was. People are going to think we're just giving our typical rest in peace speeches. But judging by the comments, I was reading them and I was like, yo, people really did connect with them. Like, people saw Like we're able to see. You can tell by some of the comments, like the things they said, that they were really able to pick up on the kind of person he was.
I think he resonated with a lot of people. It's the hardest part for me of this whole situation is getting the messages, and I posted one on Instagram yesterday. It's getting the messages and people saying like they look forward to the midnight streams and stuff. Like that would have made Andy's like I can't express to you guys how happy that would have made Andy to see. Like it's just
that midnight show was going to be fun this year.
So thank you for the words. Thank you.
The first leg of the community parlay is the Pistons money line. If you voted for the Knicks, you'll get another shot. Actually, we'll put Pistons and Knicks in there. We'll do first and second. Timberwolves money line. We'll go Spurs money line, and then we'll go Kings money line.
You know that meme with the guy from what's that show about the drug dealer, and he's sitting in the pool by himself with the rocking chair? That's how I feel like without being able to text Andy about college basketball. I just feel like I'm sitting in the pool by myself, just waiting for somebody to text me something.
Oh, yeah, dude, it sucks. With our group is not like, we're not bringing on people that like have followings that we think are going to boost our algorithm or anything. Like we bring on people that like fit in with like our vibes, and he fit in nicely. All right, looks like it's going to be Grizzlies and Spurs. So it's Pistons, Knicks, Grizzlies, Spurs. Pistons, Knicks, Grizzlies, Spurs. If someone wants to shout out the odds for that. Pistons, Knicks, Grizzlies, Spurs. Pistons, Knicks, Grizzlies, Spurs.
Grizzlies. Boom. 4-leg parlay plus 305 on DraftKings.
There's the community parlay. Pistons money line, Knicks money line, Grizzlies money line, Spurs money line plus 305. Thanks everyone for the support last day or two. Thanks everyone for watching. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me. Everything's going to be back up with the app and all that within the next few days. This kind of threw a wrench into things, so little flustered at the moment, but everything will be back up and running like it was in September. We've had the problems with the app and everything. It's finally all going to be back. So for those of you that have been asking, waiting for that, the Sauce Network app, it'll give me another few days and it'll be back up. So everyone, thanks